Westbrook does a great job of one-handed, left-handed pass. Fakes the fake, works on his shot. He doesn't leave.
Trent Jr. has checked in. Warriors stay with the same five starters. And Steph Curry hitting the wing jumper. Yes, dropping in that three. Oh, Curry, little split. Steps through it. Steph with the lift. So Steph Curry, beautiful beginning. Turnover. Pointer down. Free throw in the three-point play. Curry right down the lane. How about that?
What's up, everybody? Win Daily Sports Fantasy Firebox, Tony Tiggs, Cutillo here, part 2 of the weekend. It's Sunday, and yesterday was a pretty decent day overall. Outside, it sucked. Today sucks. Can't get nothing done. It's been one of those complete mood changers yesterday. So if you're on the East Coast and Memorial Day weekend is one of your big time, throw your big shindigs, get your party going, introduction to summer. Well, right now the introduction really sucked because it has done nothing but rained. It has done nothing but been wet and soggy and just not what you want from your prototypical Memorial Day weekend. But one thing for sure, lucky for you and lucky for us, we have sports and tons of sports. And let me just start off by saying, because I normally do this every day, and I know we're specifically talking about Major League Baseball DFS, and we're going to get into some early NFL mocks round 2, which I really love because I love the interaction and the difference of opinion from so many different people. But I just want to say that I got into an argument probably about Theo checking in says, "Are you a Philly fan, bro?" Come on, man. Listen, I am straight from Philly, as you can see. I do Philly sports talk. I do Philly radio. You name it. As you can see, that's why I make up. But I can tell you, if you see in the background, Theo, my 3 favorite guards right there, I'll duck for you. Okay, we're talking MJ, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson. So I'm a huge sports fan, 100%. But at the end of the day, yeah, you are right. I'm a Philly. So I'm on cloud 9 right now with the Philadelphia 76ers about to sweep out tomorrow to watch the Wizards. But that's a topic for another day. But speaking of basketball, Theo, and for everybody else, I just want to say how blessed I feel right now that we are able to watch prime players in their 20s in the NBA on almost every single team. I brought this up a couple weeks ago, and before we get into this MLB DFS early slate, back in when I grew up, and I'm middle-aged right now, right? I'm in my 40s. So when I grew up, it was all about MJ, right? We watched Michael, and you had guys like John Stockton, you had Neek, right? You Karl Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, you had all these guys. But right now, I don't think there's ever been a time where we could say, I could turn on any NBA game and watch a youngster, in his prime, under the age of 30, and just ball out and enjoy it. So I feel blessed right now. I really do, because I'm a big John Morant guy, right? And I get in arguments all the time about John Morant, Zion Williamson, because I've always said, and I'll continue to say, that until Zion proves to me that he can stand the test of time, John Morant is more of the prototypical player for today's NBA. And he is going to last longer than Zion Williamson. There's a reason why. Zion Williamson's at home watching the playoffs on TV, and no matter what the series record is, Ja Morant is balling out on a grand stage of them all in the NBA playoffs against the best team in the West based upon record. There's a reason why Ja Morant is able to produce the way he is, because that's the kind of role he's in, and that's the way the NBA goes, right? So Ja Morant, you can give me all the stats all day about Zion Williamson during the regular season. I'm going to look at the stats right now for Ja Morant in the playoffs, because that is where you butter your bread, right? That is where you pad your resume in the playoffs, not the regular season. So for everybody out there that wants to give me that regular season jargon about Zion Williamson, I want you to throw in there the playoff statistics for Mr. Ja Morant, who's showing you right now he has not only arrived, but he's here to stay, and he has got an unbelievable bright future. If only the Grizzlies can add one more piece of that team, they're going to be a very exciting squad going forward. So that's my spiel for the NBA. I'm a big NBA guy. I love the young players. I love the prime capacity right now, and I'm loving every minute of these playoffs, and I like to play in tournament. So I'm looking forward to that for next year as well, and I love the way the playoffs are going right now. I cannot wait, obviously, because I am a Sixers fan, and I feel like that this is the year that they at least go to the NBA Finals. If not, it's a bust, in my opinion. But let's get to this baseball site. Now, yesterday, I think we had a pretty good day overall. Now, wasn't great by any means, right? But every day, I like to really dive into the value plays. That is my favorite, right? So we have a lot of guys on this network, Win Daily Sports, and give us a follow. Everywhere you find Win Daily Sports, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, hit the subscription button, hit that bell. You can find me here every single weekend, Saturday, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Or 9:15, depending on what time I get up. But that's a luxury of having a studio in your own house, right? Full transparency, but 9 o'clock, 9:15, Fantasy Firebox. We'll break down everything. We're starting to dive into a little football as well, getting that conversation going. Saturday and Sundays, 5 to 7, Sirius Satellite XM, right? You can hear the guys right there, Win Daily Sports, for 2 hours every day. And then every single day, the content is just there, whether it be our Discord chats, whether it be our website, whether it be our memberships, it doesn't matter. Everybody's this one big, I should say, DFS family, right? And I love it because I've built a lot of relationships based on this because it's fun. And I'll say this again, I'm not here throwing lineups out, and I'm like, I just like to dive deep into it. And I like people to hit me up and say, yo, that play you had yesterday, man, I threw him in my lineup. It worked. I like 3 of these guys that you're talking about. I mixed them with 4 of my guys, and I won some money. That's what this is all about. That's what I love doing. So yesterday, we had the FFVP, I call it, right? We're going to get the image made for this, okay? We had the Fantasy Firebox Value Play of the Day, okay? Was Jeremy Shoop, or Jonathan Shoop, I'm sorry. I have Robbie Grossman down here. So today we're going to stick with Detroit, right? We're going to stick with Detroit. And our Fantasy Firebox Value Play of the Day is going to be Robbie Grossman. Now, yesterday, Jonathan Shoop, what does he do? 21 points. $3,200, right? This is the way you have to look at when I bring these guys up. I try to pick out that one value guy that I think is just going to be, a slam dunk for the money, right? So today is going to be Robbie Grossman. And the reason why it's Robbie Grossman today is the Detroit Tigers have 2 guys, in my opinion, in Jonathan Shoop and Robbie Grossman, that can really get you positive point production, if you pick the right spots. That's the biggest thing. If you pick the right spots. And today, Detroit's going up against a reliever, right? Corey Kluber is out. He's on the IL for the Yankees. They're a little shorthanded. So, we're going with a shorthanded staff right now, right? So when I'm not really scared about Michael King, so I want to attack Michael King. Now, I'm not going to go nuts and go with, Miguel Cabrera. I'm not going crazy. I just want to pick one guy, and Robbie Grossman to me is the guy. Now, he gave us a nice fat 0 yesterday, 0 for 4, right? But the day before that, he hit a home run, right? It's kind of what multi-hit. Then he went 4 or 3 zeros, right? But it was $4,600. So that's the thing I'm looking at. So Robbie Grossman, I'm not going to pay 45, 43, 4,000. No way. But when Robbie Grossman drops below 4,000, and I can get him between 34 and 3,600. and he's going up against a really good matchup on the mound, that's when I pounce. And I think today I'm going to call the value play of the day, fantasy Firebox value player of the day, is going to be Robbie Grossman. Yesterday, again, was Jonathan Shoup. He gave us 21. Now, I don't know if Robbie Grossman is going to be able to give us in the 20s, but I think he's going to be really good value. So that's a guy. Throw in your lineup if you have the, if you have the capabilities, right? Theo, thanks, buddy. Listen, I gotta give it all to the wife, okay? Because all I did was I bought the stuff, okay, and I say, yo, do me a favor, hook this up, right? So, and I have a piece of history everywhere in here that I'm very proud of, right? I'm a Barry Bonds guy, upper left-hand corner right here, huge Barry Bonds guy. Tiger Woods, right here. You can look at Tiger. This is every single major that he won and every Sports Illustrated cover right there that he's on, which I absolutely love. I talked about my 3 favorite guards right here of all time. No disrespect to LeBron, but he's number 4 in my opinion. I got Jordan, Kobe, and AI. You got the perfect game thrown by Roy Halladay. Obviously, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles guy. We go to the Super Bowl. There's a Super Bowl garb over here. One of the best third basemen of all time, Mike Schmidt. Right. And then we got right here, which I call this the Yingling table because, I'm a part of, I founded a network called Heat Ratio Sports. We have a ton of shows there during the week. I do a show called Heat Ratio Live, which is sponsored by Yingling right here. So Yingling gives us prize packs to give away. So, very, very fortunate to be in this kind of business and environment and to be able to show what we have in the background. And there'll be more. Trust me, there'll be more. Trying to get on my boss to give me this Win Daily hat so I can nix the Philly hat. We'll get the Win Daily hat. We'll get that going. But fantasy Firebox value play today, Robbie Grossman, 3,600, going up against Michael King. Leading off, I really like it. Throw him in there, see what you do. Again, Shoup yesterday gives you 21. So I think this could be the same kind of day for Mr. Robbie Grossman. So let's share the screen real fast. We'll bring up my parody DraftKings account because I don't want you guys to see all kinds of whatever money I have laying around, right? So this is my parody account. I love this account. Literally, like I take $20 for one of my wins, I throw it in there, and I just play little crappy lineups here and there. I mix and shift and win 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. It's pretty cool. And then I don't let you guys in on all the secrets, you know what I mean? But nah, I'm just kidding. So let's bring this up. And right now, this is where we're going. So one of the biggest things today is going to be the weather once again, right? Once again is going to be the weather. Big hindrance. And if it's a Sunday and you're getting ready to set those lineups, you want to go out, get your home improvement runs, get your grocery shopping done, and you don't want to worry about the weather, just don't pick those games. I know some of the matchups are really, really good. I get it. But if you don't want to have to worry about looking on your phone, save an argument between you and the wife while you're walking down the aisle, while she asks you to get Eggos, and unfortunately you're looking at your lineup, you want to keep the peace, right? We're all about keeping peace, okay? But stay away from those games. And that's kind of like what I did. I did that yesterday, and I'm going to do it again today, right? So right off the bat, arms, right? Let's just go arms. Let's just, let's be honest, right? Max Scherzer, he's a stud. Brandon Woodruff is a stud, right? But again, weather concerns, right? Weather concerns. You have the same thing with the Miami-Boston game, weather concerns, right? So, you have a matchup with Blake Snell versus Zach Greinke, 2 really good pitchers, right? I mean, you're hoping for no decision on both ends, maybe 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, give you 20. But again, I want to go and dive deep into this, right? Because I like to add big-time cores in my lineup if I can get really good value arms. So, again, these are just 100%. These are my plays. These are just guys that I like. Yesterday, I can tell you right now, our value plays were exceptional, right? Yesterday, we had a value plays of Yadier Molina, Adolis Garcia, and Joey Galloway. Or Joey Did I just say Joey Galloway? So I'm getting ready for football. Joey Gallo. Right? So Gallo gives you 10, Garcia 16, Molina 14. really good numbers, all on guys that are below 4,200, right? So our late game core wasn't that great. We took Goldsmith and Acuna. Goldsmith gets 9, Acuna's 3. Not very good. Our late game arms, not very good. We really want the pounce. I know I did on Ian Anderson, thinking he was going to go up against a Mets lineup that's been very lackluster, very underperforming. So, but they decided to turn it on and go crazy, right? Lindor finally gets on the board. So all you New York Mets fans are probably happy, but not me, because I only got a 7 from Anderson and Wainwright. Listen, 15, okay, not terrible, but I definitely want it more, but decent value, depending on who your other pitcher was. Early game core, again, really good. We had a goose egg from Matt Olson, but we were able to pick it up with 24 from Tatis and 12 from Chris Bryant. So we're still in the 36-point realm. Now, we did really good with their early game arms. Really, really good. Our number 1, 1A, 1B, Frankie Montes, Freddie Peralta. Peralta gets you to 32. Montes to 23. Montes, really good week. Double star pitcher. He was in my Fox Sports Gambler. I do it. I hit every day at about 350-ish. We talk about a specific player, specific, direction, and Mondays is 2-start Mondays, and Frankie Montes is one of my guys, so I'm really happy to see him perform, in that spot. Now, our sneaky stacks were really bad, but that's why we call them sneaky stacks, because there were guys 3,000, 2,600 just throwing up against the wall. Benintendi, who didn't start, still gets 1 pitch. It gets a 0. Michael Taylor, 0, right? That didn't help us at all. The Seattle sneaky stack didn't help us. Kyle Seager, 0. Tyler France, 2. Nothing. So we struck out on that one. But our early game values, okay, Suarez gets a 7, right? He had 7 to 10 range is what my baseline is. And Mitch Garver, 4,200 gets you 11. I'll take that. So we had a decent day, probably like a 65% day, but that's okay. This is what we do. Now we're back again today, and we're trying to break down this, for essentially 10 game slate, because I'm adding the late, not the late games, but there's not just the 2:00 games. I'm getting the 1:00 games as well. So I'm not even going to the 4:00 games. We'll look into that too and see what we have. But I'll tell you what, I looked and I don't really see anybody or anything of value or substance for me. So I'm just sticking with the early games right now before we switch to NFL. So right away, my arm that I'm going to go with, and again, this is based on weather. I'm taking these 3 guys right off the bat. Okay. With Scherzer, Alcantara, and Woodruff, I'm taking them right off because of weather. Now, I may be wrong. It's okay. But I just don't feel comfortable, because looking at the weather report, it looks really nasty. And I don't know either if they're going to get those games in. They're going to be delayed where, pitcher starts, throws 2 innings, and then he's out. So I don't want to take that risk, okay? So for me, I'm going to go Zach Eflin. Now, hear me out. The reason why I'm going to go Zach Eflin is I really like the Phillies, to go in and win this game today. They've been very inconsistent. They really have. But Zach Eflin has been pretty good. Now, again, we're talking DFS. We're not worried about this 2 and 4, right? We're worried about this ERA under 4, which it is. We're worried about innings pitched. He's solid. 6.6, right? Solid innings pitched. Ks per 9. Look, 7, 8, 9, 6. So he's checking those 2 boxes, right? He's checking those 2 boxes. So today, I against Tampa Bay, I think this is a game that the Phillies need, and I think that Zach Eflin comes out on the mound. Yesterday, what a wasted effort from Zach Wheeler, 14+ Ks. Unbelievable, and they still find a way to lose that game. So Zach Eflin's going to have to go deep, going to have to give you 7 innings, a really good quality start. But I think the bats come alive a little bit today in Tampa Bay. I think that they can hold the Phillies score 4, 5, 6 runs. I think Zach Eflin maybe only gives up 2. We look at a game score about 5-2, 5-3. Zach Eflin getting a win, going 7 innings, striking out 9. I'm looking at a 20-point day from Zach Eflin, and I'm paying $9,300, which will give me great satisfaction if that happens. So I like Eflin for that reason. I think he gives you the option of adding some pretty good lumber in your lineup, because you are under 10,000 with your number 1 arm. So for me, I'm going Zach Eflin as my top arm today. And then I'm going big time sleeper here. And I don't think it's a stretch. I don't. When you go under a certain number, especially when they're pitching. So a couple weeks ago, we go, Brady Singer was 6,600, and it was like, let's take a chance because we want to add some really good value in the lineup when we talk about lumber potential, right? So that's kind of what I did today. And again, this isn't a lineup, but I'm just trying to give you guys some core plays and some arms that'll help you, put in little values here and there depending on who you like. So I'm going to go all in today on Kyle Freeland. Now, he just made his first start. Coming back from injury, comes back, has a pretty decent, he only goes 4 innings. He was on a pitch count, okay? But he's going up against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who absolutely aren't setting the world on fire when you talk about an offensive production, right? So, I think it's a pretty safe play today for Kyle Freeland. He struck out 5 in 4, which shows that he's got his speed up, he's got his velocity, and he's got his command. He did walk 3 in 4. So, again, 4 hits allowed, 3 walks, but 5 Ks. All I'm worried about is the innings pitched and the strikeout. So, I honestly think today against the Giants, there I go again. Today against the Pirates, I'm thinking a 7 to 8 strikeout game. And he goes about 6 innings today. Give him a +2. That's 14. Get a win. I'm looking at a 20 point plus performance for Kyle Freeland, and he's only 5,800. I think it's a huge value, very low risk, very high reward. Okay, so that's why I like Kyle Freeland today. So I think if you could set a lineup, in my opinion, and you could start it off with Zach Eflin and Kyle Freeland, I think they can really do you some justice. Now, even if you don't want to go with my rainout theory, okay, think about it this way. Even if you don't want to go with the rainout theory and you don't want to, put $9,300 into Zach Eflin, and you're like, you know what, Tone? Honestly, I'm going to pay the extra $800 and go with Brandon Woodruff, okay? Or I'm going to pay the extra $1,000 and go with Max Scherzer, okay? Maybe you do that. That's fine, but you still can grab that Kyle Freeland for $5,800, and I think that could really make or break your lineup. I do. I think they could really turn it around. I think that's something that we really need to look at. Now, let's talk at core. Our core for today. So yesterday, our core did pretty well, and that's because Fernando Tatis and Chris Bryant really carried it. He knocked the 0 out for Mr. Matt Olson, which really boned us yesterday, but that's okay. So today, again, I'm looking at matchups, right? You're always looking at pitching matchups. You're looking at arms, all right? And there's certain guys that I want to go up against. One of them was Michael King. Okay, so we talked about that, but again, that's Detroit going up against Michael King. So the only guy I really look is our fantasy Firebox value to play. That's Robbie Grossman. So I think that could be a good play. Another is Jake Arrieta, right? Our good old buddy Jake. I think he could be attacked. I think you could pounce on him. And I think Cincinnati definitely is due for one of those blowout games. So in my core right now, I have Mr. Castellanos. So Castellanos has been very lackluster over his past 5 or 6 games, but as well as I do, power hitters always go through little slumps. But here's the best part about Castellanos, and let's bring him up. And this is why I look at guys like this, okay? Even in a slump, and it's a power slump, people, a power slump, he's still giving you positive points, right? So he definitely, when you're paying $6,000, you don't want an 8. I get that. But you have to look at the value. You have to see what DraftKings has done. They've dropped him under 5,000. His last value was at 5,100. They dropped him 400, gave you a 4,700. This is the kind of value I talk about. This is when you pounce. This is when you put a guy in your lineup. Right here, 4,700 for Castellanos. Even at the 5,000 plus marks, he was giving you positive 8,767. Still take that. And he's not giving you zeros. There's a reason why he's batting 358. So this is, to me, not only a safe play, but a huge value play. I think today against Jake Arrieta in Wrigley, I think he goes long, and I think he outperforms a lot of the guys that are 5, 52, 55, 56, 5,700. He's going to outperform guys like, Aaron Judge. I mean, he just is. This is what he's going to do today, and I think this is a great value for that guy. Adam checking in. What's up, Adam? Checking in as always. Go Sixers, brother. Go Sixers. Sweep. Get the brooms out. The Sixers are coming, baby. Get the brooms out. They're going on a sweep. That's why I like Castellanos, okay? Castellanos is going to be in my core today. Followed up. Now, I did say outperform Aaron Judge, right? I did say that, but that's okay. Okay, because I like Aaron Judge today, and I'll tell you why. So I know that Tariq Skubal has been really good for Detroit when it comes to strikeouts. Okay. He hasn't had the great benefit of run support, which is why he's lost 4 out of his last 5. He just doesn't get the support. It's as simple as that. But the K potential is there. 18 Ks in the last 2 games. All right. He's there. But again, he's very shaky when it comes to hit, gives up a lot of hits. So again, this is a fastball pitcher throwing for the left. So I'm going at the right lefty matchup. I'm going with this guy is going to mess up every now and then with his command, right? Again, if you look at it, and when you base your power guys on pitchers that have a lot of junk balls, right? It's really hard because you take a guy like Yu Darvish who goes 7 pitches deep. It's really hard to go against Yu Darvish. Now, if you're talking about a value play, it's different. But it's really hard to get your studs against Yu Darvish because they have to think that extra step. So unless he makes a huge mistake, right, they're really not going to have a good day against him. Now, when you talk about guys like Skubal who only go 3 to 4 pitches deep, who have a huge velocity rate, who like to strike at a ton, they like to strike at a ton on a 2 and a 4 seamer, those pitches are more likely to be a mistake. And guys like an Aaron Judge are going to be there to pounce. Guys like a Vlad Guerrero Jr. are going to be able to pounce, right? These are the kind of guys that Nelson Cruz, the power guys that you want to play in against this kind of pitcher. So for me, for my money, I like Aaron Judge. I still say that a guy like Castellanos could outperform him at that number, but I still like him in my core, specifically because today, number one, the weather's going to be fine, and number two, the inconsistency of the Detroit pitching staff and the lack of run support. Again, this could be a short day for Skubal. It really could be, but I really like Aaron Judge today in that lineup. What's up? Yo, I got a bone to pick with you, man. You're talking Bucks in 6. We're going to have to get on that a little bit. Bucks in 6, man. I'm not liking that. I'm a Philly guy. I don't like that Bucks in 6 talk. That's okay. We'll get down to that, man. We'll definitely get down to that. It's all good. So let's get to the second half of the core, right? So right now we got Nick Castellanos against Jake Arrieta. We got Aaron Judge against Tariq Skubal. And then we're going to go Mr. Consistency, which one of my favorite players, okay, in Tim Anderson. Now, one of the reasons why, again, pitching matchup. Are we really concerned about Keegan Aiken? Are we really going to be concerned about another relief guy making a starting appearance, right? Listen, I am not concerned whatsoever. I say you load up on the White Sox today. I say you go all in. This is another good opportunity to get some really good bats in the lineup, especially like I told you. If you go Kyle Freeland at 5,800 and he's able to give you some really good value, man, you can add some really good power bats into your lineup. So for me, my money, I mean, you look at the Chicago lineup, I plucked Tim Anderson right out, okay, because he's a guy that checks all those boxes that we talk about all the time. He does it all, okay, stolen bases, walks, hits, runs scored, RBIs. Again, he's going to have his days where he may not be great at the plate, but he makes stuff happen, right? He makes stuff happen. And here's the interesting part. Excuse me. He's jumped from 4,800 to 5,500, right? So I think the gods know, the DFS gods know that today's going to be one of those days for Tim Anderson. So against a very low base opponent on the mound. So Tim Anderson for me. And then what I did was, one of my value plays today in the lineup is I'm going Andrew Vaughn. So Andrew Vaughn came out, the rookie came out slugging, right? He came out slugging beginning of the year. Okay, he's kind of dived down a little bit, kind of like what you see in Philadelphia with Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm came out hitting very well, and then the tape got out on him, and they attacked him certain ways with off-speed pitches and off the plate kind of work. It's really hindered his production. So he's learning to work through. But Andrew Vaughn, I think, has worked through quickly, more quickly than Alex Bohm. So he's still giving you decent points based on his number, right? So I think today's a go long day for Andrew Vaughn. I really do. And for 3,100, again, if you could team up a guy like Andrew Vaughn with a really good pitcher matchup for 3,100 with Robbie Grossman, who was our fantasy Firebox value play of the day, at 3,600 in Detroit, and you're taking two guys 77 or 6,700. Okay, and each of those guys maybe get you 714. That's a really good value. So I like those guys in the lineup. 1, 2. I think you can pluck them in, depending on who your core is and who your stack is. So your core for me, Tim Anderson, Aaron Judge, Nick Castellanos. That's my core. Zach Eflin, Kyle Freeland is the guys up top. On the arms specifically, because Zach Eflin is my fourth arm in my opinion. But the top three guys, weather related, I don't want to touch them. So then we're going to go on another attack, okay? And it's going to be called the Brad Keller attack. All right. And the reason why I say that is we're going to throw some twins in the lineup today, because on the mound, Mr. Brad Keller is not a guy who scares me. Okay, he's just not. He's not a guy who scares me. All right, he's got a sub-6 ERA, 5.72. Okay, been inconsistent, giving up 4 home runs in the last 5 games. Right, doesn't strike out a lot. Gives up a lot of hits. I mean, look, there's an 8 and 5, 6 and 4. He could be pounced on today. He really can. So, in my opinion, I want to get some value guys from the Twins to give you guys, okay? Because I'm not saying I want to pay up, but what I'm talking about is guys like, number one, I think Jorge Polanco is another value guy. 4,500. He reminds me of Castellanos, right? He drops from in the 5s to in the mid 4s. I mean, look at him. He's 5,000, then he dropped 49, then he goes up to 54, 52, and then he dropped him 700. He's got a really good pitch and matchup today, and he's coming off 3 double-digit fantasy point productions in the last 5 games. How do you not roll with Jorge Polanco today? I don't understand. I think you have to insert him into your lineup as an extreme value at 4,500, because if you throw him in at 4,500 and he's giving you 10 to 15 points, that's tremendous value. And that's something you can't sniff at. You just can't. You can't sniff at that production. So for me, I'm in on Jorge Polanco today at 4,500 against my man Brad, who I don't think has anything in the tank. And then on top of that, here goes another. This is straight off a hunch right here. Josh Donaldson, obviously, age has not been a fan to Mr. Donaldson. Now, I've always said all the time, there's 2 people in life that are completely undefeated, and that's Father Time and Mother Nature. You just can't beat out either of them. They're always going to reign supreme. And right now, you're seeing that with Josh Donaldson. Really not giving you they were not giving the Twins what they thought they would get from him this year. But I have to look at his salary, right? So if you look at the beginning of the year, 4,500, 45, 43, 45, 4,000 consistently. Now he drops to 38. So again, against Brad Keller, I'm looking at this matchup and say, you know what? This could be one of those days where Josh breaks out of the funk a little bit, right? So he does have some decent protection in the lineup. Okay, he has been getting extra days off for rest. So I think today, and again, it is 9:48 right now. And let me preface this by saying this is a Sunday. So you never know what guys are going to rest. The active lineups are not out right now. So I'm going on this based upon these guys are playing. So you have to, that's why I like to give you a lot of guys too, because you can mix and match and figure out who you want, depending if guys play. If they're inactive today, you just never know on a Sunday. But Josh Donaldson for me could be one of our going long. He is one of our going long for under 4,000 guys. And that's going to be Josh Donaldson today at 3,800. I really like that value too. So that's a sneaky little stack right there for Minnesota. When you go Polanco and Donaldson, 2 guys I think that are undervalued, right? Completely undervalued. Now, another 2 undervalued guys. Okay, and I'm going to throw another going long guy at you for under 4,000, and that's going to be Tyler Naquin of the Cincinnati Reds going up against our boy Jake Arrieta, right? So I really like the Cincinnati Reds offense today. Yesterday, I liked Winker and I liked Suarez. Today, I switched up a little bit. Castellanos was in our core for 4,700, great value. And I think Naquin at 3,700 is another good value for their going long under 4,000 against Jake Arrieta, who gives up a lot of long balls. So I think this is a really good spot for Tyler Naquin. Again, depending on what your lineups are, I think you got to get some Reds in there. And I think Naquin is one of the guys that you could definitely get in there. And don't forget the catching position. I'm going to go with Tucker Barnhart today. Another Cincinnati Red, another guy up against Jake Arrieta. And again, he should play. Right? He didn't play yesterday. So normally catchers don't get 2 days off. Normally they get off Saturday or Sunday. So I think because he got the day off yesterday, I think this is the day they gave him a good matchup against Arrieta. Zach Davies yesterday wasn't, was actually pretty good. But I really think that today Tucker Barnhart will play, and for 3,700 at the catcher position, I think he does give you nothing but low risk, high reward value. I mean, you see right now as a catcher 5.5348. I mean, listen, 5-1-0 in the past 10. You really can't complain about that, honestly, when you're picking catchers, unless you want to pay up for guys like Will Smith or Mercedes. Depending on what you want to do. I don't like to pay up for catchers. I think there's a lot of value under 4,000. So Tucker Barnhart for me is another value. So again, this is what we have, right? This is what we have before we move on. So let's remember our two arms that we're going are Zach Eflin and Kyle Freeland. I think Kyle Freeland 5,800 is a really good value. Catcher value today, Tucker Barnhart. For me, I like Barnhart under 4,000 going up against Jake Arrieta. I think that's a really good pounce. Our core, Tim Anderson of the White Sox, Aaron Judge for the Yankees, and Nick Castellanos for the Reds. And then we're going to go value plays again. Tyler Naquin for the Cincinnati, Josh Donaldson and Jorge Polanco. And how about that Andrew Vaughn for 3,100? And don't forget our value fantasy Firebox value play of the day, FFVP. We are going to brand that here at Win Daily. It's the FFVP play of the day is going to be Robbie Grossman for 3,600. So let me know who you put in your lineups. Let me know who you have. I'm very curious, man. I'm curious. If you guys are listening right now, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, hit that notification button. Win Daily Sports. Throw your cores, throw your players that you like in the comments, whether now live, whether later on. Check us out on Discord. You could throw me a DM on Twitter. They're always open. I have fun with this. Okay, but we're gonna veer past right now. We're 37 minutes, and I like to keep this about an hour. On Sundays, I think are a little different because we do a little review in the beginning of yesterday. We have the nice 10-game slate before 4 o'clock. Nobody that really got me excited in the 4 o'clock game slot. And the late game. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do the first half. Again, check those lineups before. You never know. I tried to stay away from weather, but let me know how you did. So let's flip the script. We started some football talk yesterday, and we went, again, mock draft ESPN round 1. And again, what we're talking about right now is our early mock draft that includes guys like Tristan Colecroft, Mike Clay, Eric Carabell, Field Yates, Matthew Berry, Stefina Bell. You know the crew, right? So the first round, again, this is going to be a thing. This is what we're going to do here on the Fantasy Firebox, because we're going to start talking a little bit of football, and what we're going to do is we're going to throw out weekly votes, okay? Weekly votes on who your top 3 is, or who your top 5 is. I'm curious because there's so many guys into this discussion. And yesterday we looked at round 1. Round 1 mock for them was McCaffrey, Cook, Barkley, Kamara, Henry, Elliott, Kelsey, Jones, Hill, and Adams, right? So it's a 10-man mock, full point PPR. And the questionable part for me was Saquon Barkley at 3. I think you bump Alvin Kamara up to 3. And I really like, you want to bump Barkley down to 4. I think you got to move Cam Akers up to 5. I really do. And then maybe I'll give, Derrick Henry a play. But I'm looking at guys like Jonathan Taylor. I'm looking at guys like Austin Eckler. I'm looking at guys like DeAndre Swift. Okay, guys that I think should be higher. So let's look at round 2 right now and see what these these perspectives are right now. And right now, what we're looking at round 2, we go Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb. And you know what? Let's just share the screen real fast and make it easy so I don't have to read it and you guys can see it as well. So you guys can see what I'm looking at right here. This is what I'm looking at right now. Okay, so I'm looking right now at this, and we're gonna get to round 3 next week. But right now, for all intents and purposes, we took round 1 and round 2. Now, here's my issue with round 2. I actually like the players in round 2 better than I like in round 1. Okay, I'm excited about certain guys. I really am. Cam Akers, we talked about him last week. He really excites me. DeAndre Swift, again, really excites me. Antonio Gibson absolutely excites me. You've seen what he did last year. And again, now they have more offensive weapons. Okay, so when you were able to establish a 2-back set between Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, right? And now you bring in a guy and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who at least can hold down that quarterback spot. And again, even at age 35 plus, can still run. He's still mobile, which means you cannot spy an 8-man front just on Antonio Gibson, which I think is going to help him tremendously. And because of that, I think he deserves to be pushed up from 19. I really do. I would take Antonio Gibson above Swift. I would take Antonio Gibson above Joe Mixon. I would take Antonio Gibson above Nick Chubb. Now, I know people are going to sound crazy because that Cleveland team is very, very good. But I just think that the insertion of the Kareem Hunt factor, and I really think that they are all in on trying to acquire Julio Jones. I think that offense goes a completely different dynamic, and I think it's more of a timeshare, even though Nick Chubb is still going to get his points, but I don't like the constant insertion of Kareem Hunt even more. I think Stefanski has shown that he loves the running game, right? Which is why Nick Chubb is really high. But I just think that the difference between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as opposed to Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick gives Antonio Gibson just a little bit of a nod to get more touches. And I think he's a little more elusive, and I think that he'll get more plays out of the backfield. And in a PPR kind of league, I think that's what you have to look at. So I give him a little slight edge over Nick Chubb specifically for that. Look, see right away, our value play today is out. This is why the early game sucks sometimes, right? But that's okay. Grossman out today. So all right, so let's backtrack here. So this is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna give you the guy that's already in my lineup. Okay, we're already in our value plays. We're gonna flip the switch here, and we're just gonna put Andrew Vaughn as our FFVP play of the day. Let's go Andrew Vaughn at 3,100 for the Chicago White Sox. He's going to be our fancy Firebox value play of the day. So thank you for checking in, man. As always, SGuy840. You got to, man, you got to give me, I can't call you guys by your handles. So flip it. If you don't want to throw it out here, give me, let me know what your first name is. So we're talking on a personal basis here. So I don't have to sound like a tech guy and call you SGuy840. So even if it's not your real name, just give me a name, right? So because I just want to thank Joe. There we go. All right, Joe. So Joe checking in with the quickness, giving me Grossman out today. And me and Joe go back and forth a lot. He has some really good lineups he throws out there as well. So we enjoyed it back and forth. We kind of help each other out, which I absolutely love. That's what this is all about. So Grossman out today. So let's do this. I'm going to throw this out there just in case people watching on replay. Let's take Robbie Grossman out, okay? And we're going to put Andrew Vaughn in. There we go. So right there's our FFVP play of the day. That stands for Fantasy Firebox Value Play of the Day. Andrew Vaughn, 3,100 Chicago White Sox. Joe, thanks again, man. Always on. This is why I love you guys. As I'm talking football, you guys are already checking, seeing who's out, who's in. It helps us out. Now, Adam wants to know, what about Diggs, right? They're getting back to the football real fast. Stefan Diggs at 17. Now, here's the thing about Stefan Diggs. And this is the only thing that scares me about Diggs. His year was so exceptional last year that it's really going to be hard to duplicate that same kind of number. So I actually like them dropping him into round 2 because I thought, depending on your draft, I think people are going to reach for Stefan Diggs this year. And I still like Stefan Diggs because I like what the Buffalo offense is giving. I do. But my question is, how much can he put on his shoulders again? Now, John Brown not there, I get it, but you're going to have guys like Gabriel Davis that are going to step up into that role. I really like Stefan Diggs. I just don't see a performance like he had last year. So from a fantasy perspective, I still think he is. I would say last year, I'll say I'll still be a top 10 receiver, maybe between 7 and 10, but he won't be 1, 2, or 3. Put it that way. I don't see that this year. I think one of the most intriguing things is going to be, where does the Aaron Rodgers situation play out? Because that's going to hinder where we think about Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, right? I mean, that's a big deal, right? Adam checking in says Ezekiel Elliott should be yes, exactly. Adam, 100%. I am not a Zeke guy. I haven't been a Zeke guy, and I don't see the love affair with Zeke at number 6. I mean, 2 straight years where he's absolutely boned owners and come up short when you needed him. So he's still getting a ton of love in the first round. For me, he drops down to the second round. I would definitely bump a lot of people up over Zeke Elliott. I really would. Now, 1, 2, when we're talking about running backs and PPR, I think 1, 2, and 3 is consistently going to be McCaffrey, Cook, and Kamara. You may, depending on how you like them, you may flip them. I talked about that yesterday. I still think Dalvin Cook is number 1, not McCaffrey. That's just my opinion. But Derrick Henry, I think, deserves a top 10 nod, obviously. Aaron Jones, again, at 8, I don't know. I don't know. Now, they let Jamal Williams go. So, he doesn't have that ball hawk behind him. They still have AJ Dillon out there. So, depending on what Dillon is going to be for that team, and depending on what Aaron Rodgers is going to be for that team, that can really deter, the ADP status of Aaron Jones. That's why I'm liking round 2. Listen, Jonathan Taylor last year just showed that he's ready to carry a team. Okay. He's absolutely ready to carry a team, in my opinion. So I really, really like Jonathan Taylor this year. Frank Reich is a run guy. They bring in Carson Wentz. Okay, so we already know that they're not going to have Carson Wentz running around trying to make plays. They're going to simplify that offense for Carson Wentz, which means going to be more running attack. There is no more. I know Marlon Mack was basically injured last year. It was essentially a Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines show. Okay, but I just think that this was, when you have a rookie running back, I talked about this last week about understanding the blitz pickup, understanding protection. That's going to be huge for a guy like Carson Wentz, who has a huge injury history, right? So if you had a whole year last year to work Jonathan Taylor into the mix to show that, number one, he is a number 1 RB1 in a PPR format, but more importantly for the team from a football aspect, he's able to stay on the field and be able to pick up blitzes and pick up coverage so he doesn't get his quarterback killed. So that's going to be huge when you talk about Carson Wentz, which means he is definitely going to be leaned on in that offense. So I would definitely bump him up into the top 10. I like Jonathan Taylor over Zeke Elliott. I know it's early, but I definitely like Jonathan Taylor over Zeke Elliott. So that's one thing that stuck out to me as well. Now, Joe Mixon, a very interesting pick here. We have to figure out, again, that offense is going to be electric as long as Joe Burrow is healthy. right? They make the Jamar Chase selection, which I absolutely love. You have T. Higgins, you have Tyler Boyd, but somebody asked me, one of the shows I was on, we were talking about, offensive outputs of those three receivers. And a lot of people were talking about, do you think Jamar Chase should be below or above T. Higgins? Now, or even Tyler Boyd for that matter. And here's what I said, and this is the way I'm looking at this. So I like Jamar Chase a ton, right? A ton. You look at rookie wide receivers last year and what they were able to do, right? So Henry Ruggs obviously was up and down, right? Because of the kind of the team that he was on, and he couldn't learn the playbook. We all know about that, right? Justin Jefferson, unbelievable, unbelievable year last year, which really makes you think about what we did, right, in the Philadelphia realm with Jalen Reagor. But Jerry Jeudy, who really balled out, when he came into his own when the quarterback play was consistent, right? So I think we're seeing the evolution of rookie receivers actually being fantasy relevant in year one, which we didn't used to see that in years past, right? So I think that's a very important statistic that we have to look at. So I'll tell you why I like Jamar Chase over T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Joe Burrow will be back, right? He will play. But when you're coming off an ACL injury, the 5 to 7 step drops, the X and Y receivers that go deep, the go routes, the deep posts, they take a while to develop, right? Even the IMS routes, they take a long time to develop. And I think that what's going to happen in that offense is they're going to lean on a running game a little more. Obviously, we know that. But I think you could, Jamar Chase is the kind of the Jalen Waddle kind of receiver, right? Which is why I think Jalen Waddle was selected by Miami. He's a catch and run guy. He's a catch and go guy. He's the guy who's going to turn the 5-yard out into a 20-yard game. He's the guy who's going to give you the hot route when your protection is clamping down on you. He's the guy who's going to go across the middle for 5 yards and give you that sideline fade, that cornerback fade. I think that's what Jamar Chase is going to be, why Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins are going to consistently go deep. And I think that's going to hurt their value just a little bit, but it's going to peak up Jamar Chase's value. So I think Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be more valuable from a fantasy perspective, even in this year, as long as Joe Burrow is on the field, above Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. So that's my spiel on Jamar Chase. So let's look at the bottom half of this. And the one thing I want to ask is, does DeAndre Hopkins at 20, does he really deserve to drop down that far? Again, wide receiver 4, I don't see it. So essentially in this mock, you have Tyreek Hill at wide receiver 1, Devontae Adams at wide receiver 2, Stefan Diggs at wide receiver 3, and DeAndre Hopkins wide receiver 4. Sorry, I'm not seeing it. So I am not out on DeAndre Hopkins as a top 2 receiver. I'm not. So for my money right now, if you're asking me, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion here, just take those 4 receivers and rank them for me. Okay, rank the 4 receivers and tell me who you have, because I'm telling you right now, I'm still going. Right now, I'm going to act like Aaron Rodgers is here because he hasn't gone anywhere yet. So Devontae Adams is locked down my number 1 performer at the wide receiver position, actually in fantasy overall. But I'm going with Devontae Adams, wide receiver 1. I would go DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver 2. I would go Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 3, and then I would go Stefan Diggs, wide receiver 4. That's just my opinion. And then, when we get into, next week, when we start looking at round 3, we'll talk about who rounds off that top 5. And you know what? I'm going to throw a vote out there for everybody. So, and this isn't my rankings, right? We're going to go off this ESPN ranking just to get an idea of what other analysts are thinking, and with what they're thinking right now with those top 4. I'm curious to see what number 1 your top 4 would be, and who your number 5 would be, mixed into that top 4. So I'm very, very curious. So I want you guys to hit me up and let me know what you think. But anyway, another great show, man, on a Sunday. Listen, I love this shit, man. Seriously, I cannot wait to even do more. I can't. So a lot of things in the works. A lot of things coming up for all you people. If you are, if any Philly people, you are checking in, or if you want to hear Philadelphia talk, join me. Half Court Heat Sunday nights on the Heat Ratio Sports Network. We talk all things NBA, Philadelphia 76ers, plus break down the NBA playoffs. Tuesday nights, I go live, Heat Ratio Live, where I break down not only the me and a host of other personalities. They switch up from week to week, but we break down the local sports scene as well as a national perspective, and we add a little music talk in there as well, because we're very culturally centric. I love music. Music is one of my all-time loves. So we have musical guests on the show. We have musical curators on the show, and we talk about old school music, whether it be Motown to hip hop to alternative rock, you name it. We break down it all. We have a little fun with that. And again, you catch me right here every Saturday and Sunday, Win Daily Sports, talking fantasy Firebox, right? Bringing the heat to the Firebox, bringing the heat to Win Daily Sports. So Adam checking in. I love it. Adams, Hopkins, Hill, and Diggs. I like that. I think, honestly, Adam, that's kind of where I'm at right there. So I like Devontae. So is unbelievable. Devontae, I need more coffee. Devontae Adams is probably your most consistent week-to-week fantasy football performer from the wide receiver position. He doesn't go up and down. He's consistently giving you the double-digit points that you so seek with a number 1 guy. So I think he definitely deserves to be up top at that number 1 spot. So as always, everybody checking in on YouTube, greatly appreciate it. Great. Adam, thank you as always. Happy Memorial Day to you. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. Actually sit outside, have a couple cocktails, so to speak, and enjoy the weather before the work week starts on Tuesday. But for everybody checking in, Win Daily Sports, all social platforms at Cutillo23 on Twitter. You can find me, but most importantly, YouTube right here. Subscribe, hit that notification button, and subscribe to all our fantastic personalities at Win Daily Sports. We talk everything from golf to NASCAR every day. Bet with Mike and John. We're talking aces of base. We're talking picks and pivots. We got Sia talking PGA. We got Matt talking NASCAR. We got the serious show every Saturday and Sunday from 5 to 7, man. We got all kinds of good stuff going on Win Daily. So don't lose out. Make sure you get in the game today. So as always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you 9 a.m. next Saturday for Fantasy Firebox. You got it.